I had to do, and I'm not ashamed of what I did.
It was a scene straight out of an action movie, an army tank tearing through suburban streets, crushing cars, toppling poles, and leaving chaos in its wake. But this wasn't fiction. On May 17, 1995, San Diego became the unlikely setting for one of the most bizarre and tragic events in its history. John Nelson, a 35-year-old Army veteran, commandeered a 57-ton M60A3 Patton tank and went on a destructive rampage, forever etching his name into the city's history books. Before we dive into this unbelievable story, let's pause for a second. If you're new here, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more captivating stories. And don't forget to ring the bell so you never miss an update. Now, sit back and get ready, because this is one story you won't forget. Now, you know the phrase sitting on the check-ins? Well, here's what actually happened. John Nelson's life wasn't always chaos and destruction. Born in 1959, he was an optimistic and ambitious young man. After graduating from high school, Nelson enlisted in the U.S. Army, eager to serve his country. For 2 years, he trained and worked with discipline and dedication, earning an honorable discharge, a badge of pride for many veterans. But life after the Army was far from smooth. Nelson returned to civilian life with hopes of carving out a stable future. He became a self-employed plumber and worked hard to build a life for himself in San Diego. Yet, over the years, a series of tragedies began to unravel everything he had worked for. In 1988, Nelson faced his first major heartbreak with the death of his mother. Just 4 years later, his father passed away. The losses were compounded by legal troubles. In 1990, he filed a lawsuit against Sharp Memorial Hospital after an altercation with a security guard while he was a patient. 2 years later, he sued the same hospital again, this time alleging malpractice. Both lawsuits were dismissed by 1993, leaving him with mounting frustration and financial struggles. Adding to his despair, Nelson's personal life also fell apart. His longtime girlfriend left him, and his once thriving plumbing business began to falter. By 1995, he was facing eviction from his home, and his financial woes left him drowning in debt. To cope with these pressures, Nelson turned to drugs and alcohol, a decision that his brother Scott later said marked the beginning of the end. Fast forward to that fateful day, May 17, 1995. Sean Nelson made his way to the California Army National Guard Armory, a facility he had no authorization to enter. How he managed to break in remains a mystery to this day. Once inside, he stumbled upon an M63 Patton tank, a massive 57-ton military machine designed for combat. Somehow, despite having no formal training on how to operate such a vehicle, Nelson managed to start the tank's engine. What followed was 6 miles of destruction that would leave San Diego residents in shock. As Nelson took to the streets, the tank became a force of pure chaos. He crushed at least 40 vehicles, flattening them like soda cans. He tore through traffic lights, toppled utility poles, and even smashed fire hydrants, sending geysers of water shooting into the air. At one point, he rammed a van, injuring a mother and her child. Thankfully, their injuries were minor. The city was in panic. Witnesses described the scene as surreal. A tank rolling through the suburbs, unstoppable and devastating. Calls flooded the San Diego Police Department as frantic residents reported the unfolding nightmare. When authorities arrived, they quickly realized the magnitude of the situation. A 57-ton tank was not something that could be stopped with patrol cars or spike strips. The police scrambled to block roads, diverting traffic to prevent further casualties. Nelson, however, showed no signs of slowing down. He maneuvered the tank onto Interstate 805, crushing anything in his path. At one point, he attempted to cross a concrete median into oncoming traffic. If he had succeeded, the consequences could have been catastrophic. But in a rare stroke of luck, the tank became stuck on the median. This was the break authorities needed. A team of officers, led by San Diego Police Captain Tom Hall, rushed to the scene. Armed with bolt cutters, they climbed onto the immobilized tank and worked to open the hatch. Inside, they found Nelson, who refused to surrender. The officers faced a critical decision. They didn't know if Nelson was armed or if he intended to escalate the situation further. After a tense standoff, they opened fire, fatally shooting him. The rampage had come to an end, but the aftermath left everyone questioning how and why such an event could happen. In the days that followed, details about Nelson's life began to surface, painting a picture of a man overwhelmed by personal demons. His brother Scott described him as a shell of the person he once was, consumed by addiction and despair. The man who died yesterday was only a shell of the person we loved, Scott told reporters. The real Sean died 2 years ago at the hands of drugs and alcohol. We are very sorry for all the damage done and very thankful that no one was hurt. Despite the destruction he caused, many saw Nelson as a tragic figure, a man who needed help but never received it. His story became a cautionary tale about the struggles faced by veterans returning to civilian life, as well as the devastating impact of mental health issues and substance abuse. Even today, the 1995 San Diego tank rampage remains a chilling reminder of how quickly life can spiral out of control. It's a story of tragedy and destruction, but also one that highlights the importance of recognizing and addressing the struggles faced by those around us. So what do you think about this unbelievable tale? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more incredible stories. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more.